Good afternoon, Battery. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Let's jump in. I'm just going to change the sound settings as well. I watched the video, the Autoland video back a couple of days ago, the one that I did in Oslo, and I couldn't hear a bloody thing. So I couldn't hear me. I know somebody said increase the volume of the mic, so I've turned the volume down the master level. Might turn it down just a bit more, just hopefully make it a bit more audible, I suppose. So I'm hoping that you can hear me a bit better on this one. So the master volume of the sim is going to be turned down, and I can also turn down the sim volume in OBS as well. So hopefully you can hear me better on the microphone and listen, because yeah, I just couldn't hear anything, and it wasn't a particularly good video, I suppose. So anyway, let's jump in. I've got a nice cold and dark aircraft. Just effectively, this is what we've been out this morning, we can assume. Just going to jump in, get it all spooted up. Where's the flaps there? Somebody's left that in the wrong place. They should be off as well. That should be on. So yeah, we'll get going. Got a nice little Luton to Nice flights. Hopefully this should load up. Flight time's about 2 hours there or thereabouts. Departure time is on the hour, so what have we got? About 40 minutes. Yeah, 1300 Zulu. What's an hour? Hour and that's not right. That's 2. What's the sim time? That can sometimes be wrong. Oh, there we go. That might be better. So 13 Zulu should be 2 o'clock local, shouldn't it? Which again is in 40 minutes. Oh, that might sort itself out in a minute. That's fine. Right, so yeah, I need to get the batteries on because the FB's slowly dying down. Sound is good for me now. Good. Yeah, just let me know if you can't hear me, because I'm not going to speak too loudly because my missus is working downstairs, so I'm not going to be too shouty. Right, I've done a couple of different viewpoints as well. Let's see if these work. Yeah, so there we go. I've got an FO's side. Not that I'm intended to fly from this side, but just if we need to check the approach path on the right hand side, it's just be easier to look. And I've also got a view there down to look at both FMGCs, which is a bit easier because when we're looking at the load sheet and the rest of it, it's just easier to sort of put data in both sides. And I think there is... There we go, that's the overhead. So I'm just trying to remember these views, really just make it a little bit easier. But we can have a quick look at the aircraft sort of set up, maybe get the batteries on. Volts are good. So let's go, external power can go on. I need to do an APU fire test. Normally these are only done on the first flight of the day, so but as it's a cold aircraft I might just actually do it anyway, just for the sake of completeness. So whoever was in it before has turned the screens down, which is good, which is what they should do. So you don't turn the screens off, you just turn them down. That's all you got to do. Wise, there we go, that's what I want. So they're turned up. Same for the ECAM panels. Turn those up, and I'm sure the FO. Turn theirs up. Good. Right, battery's charging, or the FB's charging now, which is good. Let's get the flight plan down, and the navigraph sorted. Sounds windy. Yeah, it's a little bit windy outside. Oh, hang on. Let's see if I can just do this quickly. I've had to reinstall the navigraph, the Fenix, because it was just being a pain in the arse this morning. I was going to stream this morning, but it just did not work. The Fenix app just wasn't loading up at all, so I couldn't really do anything. Is that going to work? Yeah, hang on. Yes, allow. Yeah, come on, what are you doing? 1 second, I'll just get this synced all up. Good. Well, hopefully this will work in about a minute anyway. So I got plenty of time anyway, got 40 minutes to go. Good, there's the flight plan. So Luton Nice, yeah. That's all good. Call sign, is that correct? I was doing this flight earlier this morning, but yeah, 13 Kilo Charlie, but somebody was doing the same flight and they used the same call sign, so I couldn't actually, I had to do a different call sign anyway, but in the end I actually didn't do it in the morning, so we can do this later in the day, and nobody's got that call sign now, so that's fine. Good, somebody else is pinging Discord. Right, let's have a quick fire test. No more than 3 seconds, yeah, looks like it's working, good. And get the RSs on as well. What's that? Hydraulic rats, faults. Okay, why is it looking like the rat's out? Is that correct? That'll be seen on the walk round. Oh, it is. Oh, interesting. What's the rat out for? Okay. I wonder if I can clear that. Let's have a quick look. Maintenance. Failures. Rat deployed. Right, how do I sort that out? Config. Maintenance. Not going to work. Be a lek, really, wouldn't it? I suppose. Well, it's down as hydraulics, isn't it? No, this could be interesting. Looking forward to landing at Nice. Did a flight there yesterday. Curious to see where I might have gone wrong. Apart from, okay, Marty. Yeah, we'll have a look at it. I can't remember what runway we landed on, to be honest. If it's 04, it's quite straightforward. But yeah, we can have a look at that. Hopefully, this will sort itself out. That's obviously, if the rat deploy can't really go anywhere. How am I going to do that? I could load back in again. I suppose I could do that. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Interesting that it's failed. I wonder if they'll be able to fix that. I've got no idea, because we can't. Obviously, the only way you get that back in reality is the engineers have got to physically come in and somehow manhandle it back up into the little bay. So, yeah, that's going to be a bit of an issue, potentially. So I'm not going to sort anything out just yet. Certainly can't go. Your rat was out from the beginning. Well, it looks like it. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the sim has been sat here for an hour whilst I've been on lunch and gone taking the dog for a walk. So something's happened to it. So yeah, we're going to have to a look at that. I didn't press anything. I haven't pressed any of the guarded switches. It's not a major problem. If we've got to restart, just reload the aircraft is fine. We can do that. Get out and push it in. Yeah, try. Yes, there's always something, Mark. Always something with me. And this is why, I mean, if you were reading the Discord earlier, I don't have a lot of time free. I mean, I do get a bit of time to myself, but you know, if I've got time to myself, I just want to be doing this and not nursing the PC for, you know, effectively hours on end. Right, that's not sorted. Right, okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to reload in because we can't go with that. And I'm not too sure if I can fix that in the sim, so I'm just going to reload since we haven't actually done anything. Does it reset if you change a panel? Oh, possibly, Christian. I don't know. It's alright, this will only take 2 minutes to do this. As long as you don't respawn on the stand that I wanted to, which was quite funny. I messaged Christian just before I started, came online, because I looked at VATScope just to see who was around, and I said, oh, what stand are you on? He was like, oh, I'm on stand 6. I was like, oh, you bastard. That was the stand I'd already set myself on. So of all the stands in Luton, Christian had literally spawned in or connected on the same stand I was going to. So anyway, we'll do that again. Let's go back on 6. Or 5. It doesn't really make any difference, does it? Alright, let's do this again. So, yeah, that was just coincidence, I think. Great minds think alike, eh, Christian? So hopefully this is the problem. Oh, yeah, it's gone now. You can see Fenix app just sort of popped up. That's what I was having earlier. It just it came up and it just said processing. It was doing this, and it wasn't logging in. It wasn't doing anything else. It wasn't starting like it's just done there, and it was a bit of a pain in the arse because it wasn't going anywhere. Let's go back. Good. Oh, we just miraculously got to stand 5. That's fine. Do I need to... I think I might need to reconnect to vPilot. Yeah, I do. Let's just reconnect to that. There you go. Christian's still here. Good. Right, let's just... we've sort of already started things up, that's fine. Let's just make sure it's all still good. That's on the right place. Well, you go. You can answer me, Christian. My strobes on auto, which is what they should be in my sim. Are my strobes on in in your external view? Can you? Because this was something that came up a while ago, where he said strobes on auto is the SOP where they should be. But they were turning the strobes on for other aircraft in the sim, which obviously you don't want that on the ground until you come on the runways. So, yeah, if they're on, then I might need to switch them off, which might be a slight amendment to the SOPs that we have for the sim. But yeah, if you can just let me know what you can see outside. That's good, that's good, that's good. Right, I think we're all sort of pretty much back in business. Let's just get this loaded again. Game kills the Fenix app, open the app, restart. I was trying to, Vino, but it wasn't. It just was not playing ball. I was trying everything, trying to restart it, trying to close the task manager. I restarted the sim, restarted the PC. Just nothing was working, and I had to restart the entire. I had to uninstall the entire app and reinstall it, which was just a pain in the ass. But these things take so long. It takes it takes me ages anyway to sort it all out. That it just writes off the morning. Which isn't very good for me. Right, there we go. Live weather 34 minutes. That's better. So let's have a quick look at. Let's just look at sim settings as well. Airframe, what we got? That's good. No, don't have auto TKSS on the only thing I need. Don't have LDAV. Auto switching. That's on. Nav and go around. That's on. Ice detection. We don't have. Cabin. Yeah, just leave those on. Controls. RA. Yeah, I don't think we got 1,000. So we got 100. Don't have the 1,000 foot on the COs. Units, that's fine. Right, that's all good. Let's have a quick look at the flight plan. I know this was a problem with the fly-by-wire, that's why it left the strobes off, and they are off of the... Oh, okay, good. So, well, that's good. So, yeah, we can leave them in auto, certainly on the Fenix, like they should be, if they're off on your side. Let's have a quick look at the flight plan. So we're looking at this Luton Nice. This is a slightly heavier aircraft, 75.5 tons, or at least that's what I've set it out. So we've got a decent underload, which is really good, so we can get fuel on if we need it. Call sign 390, that should be fine. Routes is probably going to be pretty good. This is just a sim brief route, but that's going to be more or less it. We've got 04 left because that's most likely what we're going to be on, but I can double check that when we get going. Marseille's the alternates. What's plog? So what's that, about 6.9 is the plog. Let's have a quick look at the weather. We've got a signal for London. Severe mountain waves. Yeah, it shouldn't affect us too much. So Nice 150 so yeah, probably 04 with that wind because it's so light and variable. A little bit of clouds. Tempo, still southerly wind at 8 knots. Potentially, I mean, it's got to get to sort of 10 or 15 knots in that sort of direction before they start looking at 2.2. Prop 30 tempo broken at 1,000. It's only a prop 30, it's only a bit of broken clouds, so don't really need to consider that. Later on the day, sort of westerly winds and sort of southerly winds tomorrow. Marseille's covered case, that's good, that's down the road, that's going to be great for our alternates. Lyon again, a bit further up the roads, mist, 4,000 metres, that's later on tonight, but apart from that it's all looking good. And then LFMB, I don't know where that is, it's not an alternate. Is that? That's not somewhere I've selected. Turin I think was one. Turin's good as well. And departure, we've got a little bit gusty winds tomorrow, so that's going to affect us. Might be quite fun in the morning though. So that's looking good. So weather's all fine. Sigmets, nothing but a cloud over there. Nothing en route. Should be a pretty clear day across the continents, across France. ATC may come online. What's the NOTAMs? A couple of stands, a couple of taxiways, ILS runway. Okay, when's that? 4th October 090. Subject to short interruptions up to 20 minutes. So potential interruptions on the ILS, but we'd be told about that. That's fine. Trigger NOTAMs, couple of stands. Nothing there. Alpha 3's closed. Cranes, RFFS. That's fine. Yeah, if anybody knows what level we need for a 320, let us know, because I know, but do you know? Airports, Marseille. Again, nothing that I can see. A telescopic crane, interesting. Flashing lights. So I can't see anything there. Oh, there we go. 06, which is today, isn't it? So 070 to 1900. 13 left and 31 right closed. Okay, interesting. It's a single runway now, so it looks like the runway is going to be closed in Marseille. So we've got 13 right and 31 left, so we've still got a runway to use, that's fine, but there's going to be a runway closure by the looks of it. But the weather's fine, so it's not going to affect the planning minima at all. Something else. Got the minimums, maybe. So, and Lyon is probably 5, so that's looking pretty good. So NOTAM wise, I'm not too worried about that. So I think if we can pretty much take plug fuel, there's no real reason to take that much extra. Taxi's pretty good. But I think just for the subject of ATC, if we get a reroute, if we get put on 2-2 for whatever reason, if ATC come online, they say, right, use 2-2 rides, that's going to add quite a few extra track miles. Most of the routes, probably have this on the routes in Navigraph, so just import that. Hey Danny, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's still very chaotic. Interestingly, I've got a day off today. I shouldn't have a day off today, but I do have a day off today. So yeah, normally I would actually be at work, but that's not happened. So you know, fortunately, the missus was working from home, and she said, right, you can stream in the morning. We can go take the dog out for a walk, and then you can stream in the afternoon. And obviously, the morning was written off, but yeah, I'm doing this in the afternoon now. So I'm just seizing the moment. Anyway, yeah, so if we were going on 04, we'd come round here and then go up there and there, but if we were on 02, we'd sort of go way out here and then sort of back round. So I'm going to take a tiny little bit extra fuel just in case we need it. I don't really need that much. I think let's take 600, let's take 75, that'd be fine, that'd be more than enough. What's contingency actually, just so we got it, because we've got that up our sleeve as well. Not a lot actually, so extra 5 minutes of contingency. So yeah, 600s plus a contingency, sort of 800, that should give us about an extra 10 minutes of fuel. Plan for 2-2 right. Yeah, if you got it planned for 2-2 right, Christian, that's probably not a bad idea, because your flight plan and your fuel planning would be for that. But with that wind, it's probably likely to be 04. Right, 131 plans. Well, that's cargo, sorry. So yeah, 68, let's go 600 extra, let's go 75. Real time 22 minutes, that's fine, so still make, what are you buzzing at? Cargo door. Right, yeah, that's great, but, oh, why the engine's on? Oops. I'm not too sure why the engines are on. That's why that's gone off. Oh, it was all going to go dark, whoops. That's why, I don't know why that started with the engines on. Alright, let's get external power on. GPU. Yeah, well, should have checked that really. Alright, done. Interesting. Let's make sure all these are working. Yeah, that works. That works good. Hopefully this is going to be loading up. Yeah, they're boarding. Good. Are you? I am, Mark. Yes, I am a real 320 pilot. that's all done. That's done. Good. Right, I'll get to the box. Get the box loaded in a second. Let's just get Navigraph, just get the chance we need. So Luton. It stands up. Could be good. Yeah, that's the one we want. That one there. That one there. Departure is, what were we? Compton, I think it was. Compton for Bravo. That one there. Get the ILS in just in case we need it. So ILS of 25. Come on. That one. No. These are... There we go, it should be it. There we go. So what we've got for minimums, 708 feet, good, right, that's done. Right, let's have a quick look at this. I've got me... There we go, that's the new... view I wanted. So, FMGC, yeah. It's in date, so yeah, don't forget, it's all updated today. It's got the new Navigraph database in. You see, hopefully get a preliminary load sheet coming through. Config, that's all done. Failures, let's get this sorted. Not that one. Navigation, why are you on? I wonder if that's maybe the IRSs. Maybe the IRSs haven't quite aligned yet. Interesting that that's amber. Concerns me a little bit. IR2. Yeah, it might just be because they haven't aligned yet, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Anyway, let's get that in. Just have a quick look overheads. I've got no fault lights, that's fine. IR's aligning, yeah, so hopefully once we get that in. Hey Peter. Okay, yeah, I'll have a look, Christy, on the routing. I just used the sort of top sim brief one, it'll probably be fine. Right, what do I want to do with that? So what was our flight number? Easy 13 Kilo Charlie. Cost index is 4. Let's get this. That's probably about right, that would do. Confirm. Get the winds in. I want... Let's have a quick look at this. So, 39189 is the Tropo. Is drop a pause. What's the temperature? I feel like I'm rushing a little bit now to make the departure, probably won't be quite there. Alright, got 230, 14 knots, good. 16 degrees and 1028. Nice high QNH, that's good. Apologies if I miss anything in the chat, obviously I'm just getting this going so we can go as soon as we can. 028. Good, that's done. And the, was it 390 at, oh, not that one. Hey Rota, how you doing? Oh, nice, well done Peter. Get some flying in. 390 at 61, so yeah, a little bit colder than what it usually is, so hopefully ice is a bit colder, that should help with the performance. 39 at 61. No, not 64, 61. Yeah, as I said, the temperature was 16 degrees. Right, let's get the flight plan in. Destination 25 Compton 4 Bravo. That's in. Look at the stop attitude in a minute. Arrival, I'm just going to get RNAV Alpha. That's what we usually do. 04 left. And what's the routes? Mfu. Yeah, I have to double check this because I can't quite remember. Arrival. Nizar. Got a funny feeling Nizar. Yeah. I think Nizar's on the flight plan. Lurga. Oh, there's tourism. I mean, there's, yeah. This is a bit of a crap flight plan, to be honest. This is why I don't like SimBrief, because they never really put the right flight plans in. But okay, I'm sure we can manage that. These are. Hey Von, hey Carl. So probably that these are 7 Romeo. That's what we usually do. And hopefully that will look all good on the flight plan. Yes, that's it. Good. That's what we want. Right, what's the stop altitude out of here? I think 6,000 rings a bell. 5,000. That's what it is. So 5,000 is the stop. And that's done. That's done. Get the rest of this set up. 0 fuel weight, that's the other thing I wanted. Sorry, 56.2. Alternate's about, is that 1.3? So we want about 7.5 tons, that's what we want it to say. Oh, that's easy, Peter. It's even easier when it's like that. So 6.8, that's good. 7.5. Radnavs, I don't need that for a second. 3.9, oh interesting, so yeah, possibly go up to 3.7. Let's go. Look at this. Oops. Oh, good. Good. I'm just confirming cars. That's good. Good, good, good. Right, so let's go. We can probably go. We can squeeze up to 3.7. That shouldn't be an issue. 3.9 might be a little bit of a push, but yeah, we can. It's just a little bit above the optimum, but it's well below that recommended max. That's fine. Right, let's have Gatwick. Gatwick. 2.5. The runway back in here. Performance will come back to in a second. A little bit of extra fuel. That's what we want. Takeoff weight is 63. 0.5. Fuel secondary. Right, let's have a quick look at the secondary procedure. So we're at Luton. For Luton it says 2.5 standard, 2,100 feet left turn to Brooklands Park. This is the emergency, and inbound's 360 degrees. It's probably changed actually since I've written this, but that's okay. Engine fail, put you in. EGGW 250 degrees, that will do. Store. Back into Luton. On the arrival, we're back on ILS 25. No star, not too worried about that. And Brooklands Park, wasn't it? So BP gate. And we're going to hold there. 360 degrees. Right turn. Good. That's it. So that's all in. Performance we can put in as well. Pretty much know what that is now. So QNH is 102. That's nice and high, 16 degrees. The wind is 230 at 14. And the minimums was 708, I think it was. Cap on 708, yeah, there we go. That's done, that's done. 63.5, I think we are just below max landing weight. Max landing weight is, where are we? Yeah, so 63.5, so we're below max landing weight as well, which is good. Right, how are we doing for the boarding? Well, we've got 16 minutes, so we've still got plenty of time, and we're about halfway there, good, that's fine. And we're doing for the fuel. Fuel's on board. Let's get the APU going. Fuel pumps not quite set up as should have been. Oh. Turn those off. Right, hopefully those failures have disappeared. Yeah, good. That's gone amber. It's not amber anymore. So it's obviously a line. So that was just there because it was a lining, I'd imagine. So get the random failures on as we usually do. So we got all and realistic. Stores default. That's, yeah, I want that all the time. Right, let's have a quick look at the load sheet. If we got it yet, we haven't got the load sheet. So okay, so we can't do much there. Do we have any ATC? Gatwick, Stansted. No, there's no ATC, is there? Okay. Let's get that ready to change over. I won't go to Unicorn yet because just hear people all the time. Guard is 1215. That can go on. That's done, that's done. That's all good. Technically it should be off whilst we're on the stand. Good. Aim for the pyramids, yeah. I did fly over the pyramids not that long ago actually, but I couldn't actually see them, annoyingly. It's always good if you can see them, but I didn't actually get to see anything. Right, let's have a quick look what we got then. Let's have a quick brief, I suppose. We can do that. Right, so this is all looking good. We're below max landing weight, that's nice. In terms of taxi out, we'll just do 2 engine, I think. At the minute, what they used, I think they must be using 2.5 in real life. So as with Luton, they effectively work on a sort of clockwork system. So if you're on 2.5, you go clockwise round the loop, and if you're going on land on 07, they go anti-clockwise. So there was a taxiway closure, I think. Let's just double check which that one was. I think it was there the other day when I saw it. Oatams, Luton, taxiway Delta. So Delta closed between Delta 1 and South Foxtrot 5. Delta closed, Delta 1, Foxtrot 5. So, where's that? Delta. Right, there we go. So apparently Delta's closed here. So we're going to taxi out. We're going to go through Bravo. So we're going to go round the terminal, Bravo, Echo, Delta, and then we're going to go Foxtrot 5, Foxtrot, and then go down to runway 25 because this is closed, so we won't be able to use that. So we go on the outside part of that bit. Then we get on to Compton 4 Bravo. So pretty straightforward. Stop altitude's 5,000. A couple of radio frequencies if we need it. So straight ahead, then a left, and then to Henson, and then down to Compton, which should all be in the flight plan. So just double check that's all good. So that's looking correct. Good. Henson, yeah. Rodney. Rodney was a mandatory reporting point as well if ATC were there, but they're not. The emergencies is Brookman's Park. That's a left-hand turn. So is it left? I think it was. I think that's what I said. Yeah, 1,200 feet. Sorry, 2,100 feet left into Brookman's Park. So because we're going left towards the beacon, we're putting that on the left hand side, so that just makes it a little bit easier to know. BPG. Left. Turn you on. That's that done. That's all in here. Call sign. Fuel's looking pretty good, 7.5 tons, that's what we got. Below max landing weight, bit of extra fuel. There's the flight plan, 760 miles, which should be what the flight plan says, more or less. Yeah, 666, there we go, good. Lucky for some. Rad navs, Brookman's Park, left side if we need it for the emergencies. 37s are initially, probably can't do 39, but 37 would give it a go. Cheapest primary axis, high performance, we need to come back to in a second. And yeah, that's done. Secondary is standard company Airbus emergency, so let's have a quick look at the performance. So I want to say 1508 is the thrust action acceleration altitude. Yeah, that's good. Right, so I think I remember that the intersection's not available from Luton, so we might have to do full length. 07 dry. Load sheets not going to worry about. Config 1, no toga, no anti-ice, no packs. Takeoff weight was 63.5. What was the trim? Gonna be. Don't have a load sheet yet. That's one annoying thing. Okay, well we'll just guesstimate at the minute for the. Let's go 30 on the trim. I don't know why preliminary load sheet's not come through yet. That's the weather. That's looking good. And yeah, there's only 4 lengths, so annoyingly we've got to go. We've got to backtrack. So hopefully Fenix can update the software or the database for this for the AFB. Because initially we'd just like to take Alpha 1 just to see intersection, because we can do that. There is a Tora there, Alpha 1771 meters, but we're going to have to go full length, so we have to backtrack and then do that. So we have to just think about separation, just make sure nobody else is around. But 25 full length is, what's that, 2162? Which I think is what it said, it's 2162, yeah, good. And the performance is 124 on 140. So a bit of a split there between V1 and VR. Again, just because the length of the runway more than anything. Flaps 1, and what was the flex on that? 59 degrees, yeah, that's looking pretty good. 59, good, that's all done. Green dot's 212, which is what it says, that looks pretty good. So yeah, just going to wait for the load sheet now. We can do a checklist as well, which means get my work iPad out, which is a faff because it's behind me. Right, let's just have a quick look at the important things. Engine oil quantity we've got, that's fine. Fuel is looking balanced as well. Hydraulics, yeah, hydraulic quantity we've got, and the oxygen's looking good as well. So we can do the cockpit preparation checklists. Aircraft acceptance is being completed. Fuel quantity we have, as we said, just 7.5 tons, and it's balanced. Seatbelts are on. ADRSs 3 in nav. A little bit of a drift there on RS2, but that's fine, that's acceptable. And the bar F we have 1028, so cockpit preparation checklist is complete. I can put this on the stand actually. I do have a stand for the work iPad, saves me having to pick it up. You can force a load sheet, Christian, yeah, I know you can. The same way as you can force a dispatcher to give you a load sheet in real life by just threatening them. But we don't do things like that because it's not very nice, and bless them, they do work hard. So I'm not going to do that if we don't have to. However, we have got 7 minutes, so yeah, it might be a good shout just to say, "Wait, mate, come on, where's the bloody load sheet?" Alright, boarding's complete anyway. Yeah, I don't know why it's not come through. So that's looking good. Yeah, let's just resend the load sheet. Right, well, if that's the final one, we'll have a look. We know by the fuel So let's have a quick update on the figures. Fuel in tanks, there we go. So this is the final load sheet. Yeah, so I don't know why the preliminary one didn't come through, but that's fine, we can deal with that. So zero fuel weight is 56.3, that's close enough. And takeoff, sorry, zero fuel weight 30.3, so that's not far off. So that's well within limits. So 3.3, 7.5 tons, 63.5 is the takeoff weight, which is what it says, 63.6. Again, that's within limits. And the trim is what we got, 28.3%. Good. So performance I'll leave as it is because I did 30. I'll redo it for 28.3, but I don't think it's going to make any difference on performance at all. We'll accept that. Put you on flight plans. What you should do, you should be on performance. And let's have a quick look just to see. Give me the bloody load sheet. Yeah, it doesn't go down very well. You know, people start making phone calls when you say things like that. 28.3. So let's have a quick look. I don't think there'll be any change on this at all, really. 2.4. That's exactly the same. So that's fine. Right. So let's get you back on Unicom. Now, you should have been on Unicom. Yeah, I hope I haven't got this thing set up where the FO starts changing frequencies. Alright, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's on, that can come on. That should be on a while ago, really. Give it a minute for the AP bleed. You can come off. Ground services. Have they done, I don't know if they finished the loading or not. I think they did say they finished the loading. Yeah, cargo's all on, they just not closed the hold. Okay, well we can do that. We can close you. One right, don't know why that was open. That can go as well, you can get the tug connected. What's it? No, go. Don't need that. Excellent. We can usually push within 5 minutes, so we can start and ask for push now if we needed to, if ATC are online. But they're not, so we will just push when we're ready. Just a minute, so we can get the packs on. Excellent, right, I think we're ready to go. That's done. Last minute paranoia. Door, yeah, that's closed. Everything as it should be. Just make sure there's no silly buggers landing on the wrong runway. No, somebody coming in on 2.5 goods. Yeah, there's only one person, I think. Good. Right, let's go. I'll push first. Then I'll taxi on Foxtrot Short. So you overtake. Oh yeah, Delta's closed, Christian. So I mean, if you want to go first, carry on. I'm going to push now, so if you want to go ahead of me. But yeah, Delta's closed for work in progress. So it's up to you really how you want to do it. You can either wait for me to push and get going, or you can just go ahead of me. Right, anyway, the poor start checklist, so parking brake is on, takeoff data is all confirmed, windows are closed, PDs are flight modes, doors are not closed. Do you have to put the beacon on? I think we have to put the beacon on, don't we? I think it's the beacon that triggers the arming of the doors. There we go, yeah it is. So there we go, doors are closed and armed. And the beacon is on, so full sat checks are complete. Luton traffic, EC 13 Kilo Charlie on stand 5. We're push and start approved to face east. So parking brakes are off. Try and remember these bits. Pilot monitoring, that's on. That's on. Yeah, see if we can push. Right, clear to start engines. Starting 1. Engine base ignition. Start. And starting 1. Yep. Went over a taxi cab. Not quite turns early enough, I don't think. That won't be quite on the centre line, but that's fine. Quite tweet around here. It's tweets like a twigger. Right, that would do. Right, parking brake is on. That's disconnecting. That's stable. Starting to.
Thank you for traffic. Shamrock 38 Yankee, service ladder Charlotte, Eastern left.
I'm hoping to stream tomorrow morning as well. I do have to go to work tomorrow, but later on in the afternoon. But I just bought the Dublin scenery from MK Studios this morning, so yeah, I'm tempted to do maybe a little Dublin flight tomorrow morning. So either Aer Lingus, British Airways, I don't know, someone. Not Ryanair. You know, that just tastes horrible even saying it. But not them, but maybe somebody else. And do a flight into or out of Dublin. Don't know which one to do. Right, 2 started. That's all looking good. So much you're available. Come on. Yeah. It should be available light somewhere. Come on. It's not doing it. Okay, fair enough. Engine mode selector is back to normal. APU leads off, don't need the anti-ice. APU is off. Spoilers around. Rudder trims neutral, flaps 1. And there we go. I've got another viewpoint for the trim. What do we say? 28.3. About there, that would do. That's good, that's good. Right, let's start taxiing. Luton traffic EC13 Quebec Charlie is taxiing to runway 25 for Bravo, Echo, Delta and Foxtrot and Alpha to hold at Alpha 1. Yeah, it's good. So clear on the left, probably clear on the right. Where's my FO view? There it is. It's a bit different. Clear on the right as well, good. Parking brakes off. Taxi light is on. Look, Gav, look, there's a taxi light there. That's what it is. You turn it on, mate. So that's a bit of a dig from his stream last night. QNH 1027. QNH gone down. Okay, that's fine. We can deal with that. Let's have a quick look at the METAR. Alright, brakes are checked. And okay. My flights. METAR, update that. 1027. Good, lovely. Yeah, well done. Good, Christian.
Eastern traffic speedbird 81 departing runway 27 right, max at 1 up for
1027.
6,000 feet.
1027.
Eastern traffic be advised speedbird 81.
1027. Because the flex is, so QNH has gone down, we're going to take one off the flex to scrap that. So 58 degrees now on the flex because the QNH has gone down.
Traffic KLM 6 Delta Charlie pushing back onto Bravo. Deeper traffic, Shamrock 38 Yankee, 5 mile final for Island 27 left, final call.
Click the bus. Almost. Now there is quite a steep hill here in real life, which is sort of modelled. You can kind of see it going down, but yeah, this is all very, very uneven in real life. It's quite a bit of a steep gradient. Oh, it's Some follow me car just goes through me, fair enough. I'll do the flight controls once we're pointing south. You can sort of feel it, there you go, it's going downhill a bit. Going downhill, back up again. At least somebody's waited for me. Come on bus, out of the way. That's it. Alright, so we're looking all clear down here. Right, quick flight controls. 4 left. 4 right. Neutral. This is where this rudder bug is annoying me. Full up. Full down. Neutral. 4 left rudder. 4 right rudder. Neutral. Yeah, I need to fix that. I need to ask about that. Because normally you would press the pedal disconnect button and then you could move the rudder, but that's not allowing me to do that, which is, there's something wrong here, so I don't quite know what's going wrong. So it's left here because this generally, technically in real life, ahead of us is closed. We'll go left down here on Foxtrot.
Traffic, Shamrock 38 Yankee vacated.
That's on. That's all on. That's normal. That's on. That's on. That's done. So quick PEDS performance. There's no change on the figures C's, but we've got one off QNH, so we've not one off the flex to account for that. Engine out departure was standard strategy, 2100 feet to the left turn to approach bar, which is identified there. And departure is the Compton 4 Bravo, which is there, and we are stopping at 5,000 feet. It's looking clear on the right, looking clear on the left. Oh, there's no, why is there no banner? It's interesting. I have to see if I can fix that. Should be a banner on. So we can sort that out once we're airborne. Come on. It's a distraction. Right, taxi checklist. Flight controls are checked. Flap setting is config 1. FMA climb nav blue 1FT2. Radar predicted wind shear is on. Eco memo is take off no blues, and the EFBs are stowed and disconnected. And you as well. Alright, where's my phone gone? There it is. Is there anybody on finals? Because I've got a backtrack here. Yeah, there it is. Good. No, I don't think there's anybody on final, which is wonderful, so the runway's ours. Luton traffic, EZ13 Kilo Charlie is entering the runway at Alpha 1 on 25 to backtrack to depart on runway 25 for the Compton 4 Bravo departure. Right, what was that bing? Was that, no, it's just, no, I just don't care. Some supervisor thing talking about an event, I think. Don't care about that. Right, strobes will be coming on. apologies if I'm not seeing the chat. Right, the approach is clear in that direction. Approach is clear in that direction, which is what the VATScope said. Got the lights on. That's on. That's on. Just the backs to come. Is that already on TARE? I think. Oh, yeah, it might have been. Oh, God. None of the switches were in the right place when I reloaded. Never mind. It would do. And yeah, it's not that hot. Packs can come off as well. So the lineup checklist says cabin is secure for takeoff. Takeoff runway is runway 25 full length. Takeoff clearance is confirmed. TCAS is TARE, and the packs 1 and 2 are off. Lineup checklist complete. So use all the runway we can get. We've paid for it, so we're going to use all of it. We'll use as much as we can anyway. No asymmetric thrust.
Traffic here, KLM 6 Delta Charlie is lining up to runway 25 behind the departing EasyJet Luton traffic.
Cool, Christian's going to be behind us. Giggity. That's all good. Paranoid checks, that's all fine. That's good. Lights are on. That's all good. That's done. That's done. That's done. Right, let's see if we can go. Chrono started. It's traffic easy. 13 Kilo Charlie is departing runway 25. So, spool them up and take off. Wind is ever so slightly from the left. So, Manflex 58 SRS runway. Knots. V1. And rotates. Cool. It's a bit of a drift. Positive climb, gear is up. To weathercock quite a bit. P1. First climb, climb. Alright, there's no ETCs, let's just keep going up. Oh, come on, that one. So standard is cross-checked and 370 is blue. And flag 0, speed checks, flag 0. Spoilers. Don't need the lights. Good, away we go. Very nice day in the UK today. A little bit chilly, but still very, very nice. Still a nice light cloud layer as well. So a lovely sort of autumnal day. Yeah, watch this later on. Sorry, I can't pronounce that, but I'm good.
Good traffic KLM 6 Delta Charlie departing runway 25, Compton for Bravo departure.
actually vocalise the MSA, but it's not that high. It's pretty good around here. So yeah, we're above the MSA now, which is fine. It's okay, that's standard. And yeah, I think it seems pretty smooth, so that cabin crew can work. Right, I'm just going to stay on the flight plan. Normally ATC might clear us straight to Goodwood, something like that around here. But we do have like Heathrow around, other traffic, and we've had some traffic around over here. So I am just going to stay on this flight plan just so everyone sort of knows where we are. We're not really through any clouds. Temperature's still plus 11, plus 10 there. That's okay. Yeah, just in case we're through a little bit of the fluff. Anti-ice is coming on. A little bit of a build up a cloud over there somewhere. Uh, 11 Clark was that? That when people with combined rudder and just he said twist the rudder to move. So is that pedal disconnect function is used for something else? Fenix A320 model the pedal disconnect to disconnect the nose from steering from the rudder. Okay, yeah, they haven't. This is my point. This is what I'm trying to. Let me get to the cruise and I'll sort of talk about it. I sort of understand what you're saying, but it's not working how it should be. But that might be my sensitivities or my axis set up, which I'll talk about once we're in the cruise. But yeah, I'm not sure this isn't working exactly like it should do. But that may be something that I've done wrong. It may be an axis or something else, or there may be something else which I've not quite done. But this here should disconnect. It should disconnect the nose wheel steering from the rudders, which, no, I think you have said that. Yeah, sorry, that is, yeah, so that should disconnect the nose wheel steering, but you should still be able to move the rudders, and that's the problem. When you press this, and I press the rudder pedals don't move, but that's wrong, so I should still be able to use my rudder pedals and do a flight control check, and check the full deflection of the rudders when that's being pressed, and that used to work, but Fenix have updated this and they've changed it, so it doesn't work anymore. So I want it to go back how it was, where if you press that, it disconnects the nose wheel steering, but it doesn't stop you being able to use the rudders, which is what it's currently doing. So yeah, there is something wrong there, but I don't know what. Right, anyway, we're through 10, we can be cost index 0, that can go in. All the lights are off. Through the cloud, anti-ice can come off. Get airports on. Don't need the rad navs. That's done. Progress, that's all good, we can get rid of that. 370s, yeah, 370 would be good. Secondary, yeah, we can copy that now. Secondary's copied. So there's Heathrow. Heathrow's just on our left hand side. Probably just be able to see it. I've got the ini-build scenery in Heathrow as well, so probably won't be able to see too much of that. Or traffic. Should really be keeping an eye on any TCAS. I can't see anything yet, which is good. What was the flight time? It's about 2 hours, I think. Oh no, 1 hour 40, that's pretty good actually. Yeah, a bit of fat in the block as well, so if we were coming back, got a bit of time. 1 hour 40, when did we depart? 6 minutes ago. So what's that, 13:12. So yeah, we should be on the ground at about 1500, about 4 o'clock local, just before then. It's interesting. Interesting graphic. Is that model matching beeping at me? Possibly. Yeah. So yeah, there's still no ATC. Gatwick delivery, Gatwick grounds, Gatwick tower, Gatwick approaches on, but so they're not going to deal with us, so that's okay. I don't have the new model matching the FSTL thingamajiggy yet. I haven't got that either. That's a new thing which I'm going to do. But I've got an SSD in front of me which I need to install and get on. Hey Barry. So once I've got the new SSD in and I've reinstalled Windows and the flight sim and everything else, I'll start looking. Basically, I won't do AIG. I'll get rid of that and put the new one in because everyone says it's pretty good, and I think it's a bit easier as well. Right, it seems smooth enough for the people in the back. So belts are off. Just going to keep an eye on this Compton because there's like a white line there and then the green line, so it should just follow the green line. Lived there for 2 years. Oh, nice, Barry. That's alright. That's alright for some. Basically, pressing the pedal disconnect button now stops the rudder from moving when people twist their joystick. They've modelled it wrongly intentionally as a realism thing because in real life, as you know, the rudder doesn't move on the ground. Yes. How do I get it back? Because the problem is I liked it when you could press that button and it would disconnect the nose wheel steering, so it would disconnect my axis effectively, but I could still use the rudders because that's what you do. I'm still trying to work out the logic of what they've done there and the reason why they've done that. I'm sure there is a very good reason for if they don't have rudder pedals, they've only got a twist function on their stick, and that's why they've done it. So I do understand to a degree why where they're coming from, but the problem is it's people with rudder pedals and a twist stick function that have the tiller on the twist stick and then rudder separately. It's ruined it for that party, if that makes sense, because now I can't do a flight control check with my rudders. Because when I use my rudders, obviously, as you know, it turns the nose wheel, which I don't want to do. I don't want to be turning when I'm doing a flight control check with my rudders. Because then I'm turning from side to side like I did then. I had to sort of slow down quite a bit to stop the aircraft veering off. So, not sure they're bringing it back. It's because most people don't have a separate tiller. So I do get that. I understand it. I understand where they're coming from. But they do need to put something. I'm sure they could put something in their options somewhere. I was looking as if it would be here. I'm sure it isn't here, but airframe controls. Yeah, if they could put something in here or something to revert it back to how it did, that'd be great. Because this is the problem. I can't do a flight controls check now unless I'm stationary, which of course is nonsense. Or I somehow recalibrate the axis, which I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know why I would do that. I can't have. Obviously my rudders do my rudders. My twist stick does my nose wheel. I don't have a separate tiller, but the twist stick function of the joystick is perfectly good enough for that. Hey, Vitux. Sorry about the pronunciation. That's all right. No worries. Hopefully you can hear me a lot better. This is where the volume on the Autoland example I did the other day was just atrocious. I couldn't hear myself at all, and I know some people probably could. I think you could hear me a bit better with headphones in, but I couldn't hear me at all. So I've lowered the sim volume. So hopefully you can hear the microphone a bit better, rather than the engines, because that was the problem. You could just hear the engines over everything else. Where's Gatwick? Gatwick just below us. No, that's Farnborough, I think. Sort of Lasham. It's Lasham down there, I think. Farnborough, I think, is up the road. That's probably going to be Farnborough. Gatwick would be somewhere over here. Can't quite see. And then you've got Portsmouth, Isle of Wight, Southampton there. How are we doing? Only 10,000 feet to go. Hopefully they can model it. Yeah, I hope they can. It is a sim option as they have the tiller option in the settings. Thanks, Clark. Thanks very much. Yeah, I still haven't flown the fly-by-wire yet. To do that. It's actually it is Barry. Not anymore though. This used to be a real life livery, known as the Carrot. It was called because it was the 200th airframe for EasyJet. So they just painted it orange. But I believe it's been repainted now. It's no longer this colour scheme. So it's just the standard EasyJet colour. But this is a bit of an old retro one, which I've sort of got something a bit different. Let's cut the corner a bit. We'll tidy up a bit. What about the nosedive after selecting config 3? Is it realistic? Running reference when you're running normal, well, you don't have to correct. The nosedive in config 3. Does it happen? It's worse in config 4, if I remember, and it depends on the aircraft as well. It's a difficult one to answer because I'm trying to have to think about 4 different aircraft here. I'm trying to think how they behave. The 321neo. That definitely does a big nosedive when you go config 4, because usually you're holding about 160 knots on approach, and when you get to 4 miles you go to manage speed, and so you've got a combination of things. So you've usually gone config 4 before you get to 160 knots, but because you're maintaining, I'm trying to think of the aerodynamics, how to explain it, because you're maintaining a set speed at that time, but you get a lot more lift. Because you've gone config 4 and your chord line of the aerofoil effectively changes, it increases because more flaps got out. Because you're getting more lift at the same airspeed, you need to really lower the angle of attack, I think, to keep on going down at the same rate. I can't quite remember how to explain it. So the nose has to go down to sort of achieve staying on the glide slope. The 320neo does it as well. That definitely does it at config 4. The 320ceo going config 4, I don't think it does it quite as much. And the 319, I can't quite remember. I don't think that does it too much either. But I mean, when I land the 319, I usually land it in flap 3 because it's just a bit better, and the tail strike's not as major issue because it's a shorter airframe. So I don't think it does it so much going to config 3 that I can remember. But the other thing as well is the flaps, the trailing edge flaps, the amount of degrees they're deployed again changes between airframes, so I think it's a different value between 319s and 320s. So I've got the FCOM here, let me have a quick look. So let me have a quick look at the exact figures. So that's the other thing, because there's different degrees of flaps, even though they're still just config 1, 2, 3 and 4. So they're called the same thing. The actual amount of deflection that they deploy is different. Depends on the aircraft. So just get the FCOM out, so that'll tell me. Description. Yeah, that's good. It's in here somewhere. Let's go all. I'm just trying to find where it is in the FCOM. I'm sure it's got a detailed diagram somewhere. Is it there? I can't see it now. Oh, is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it doesn't actually, there we go. Yeah, it doesn't actually say degrees. So, what's this? So a flap 320 CEO. So the Fenix basically. So what we got here. So when you go to flap 3, the landing flaps, the degrees, the amount of flaps that's actually deployed is 20 degrees, but with flap 4 it's 35 degrees. So try to remember that's 20 and 35. The 319 Neo. There we go. So it's 20 degrees in flap 3, but it's 40 degrees in the 320 Neo. So you've got more flap deflection. It actually goes down a bit further. Let's have a look at the back of the airframe. Yes, this actually goes down to 40 degrees on the Neo and the 319, and then on the 321 Neo, in flap 3, the flaps are 21 degrees, and in flap 4 it's 34 degrees. So, as I said, that it varies between aircraft, and like we don't remember this, you don't have to remember those differences at all, but it's it's 3 different amounts of deflections on 3 different airframes effectively, so that's going to affect the aerodynamics and how much the nose goes up and down as well. So it always responds a little bit differently depending on what aircraft you're in, and of course the weather conditions, how much headwind, crosswind, tailwind, etc. What the speed is, what the weight is, where the central gravity is. It all changes every single flight, so it's difficult to sort of really give a hard and fast answer on kind of what the aircraft does, but it doesn't really matter, because usually if the automatics are in or not, you just fly in the aircraft, you're either following the flight directors or the automatics compensate anyway, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. It's not really something you worry about. Some aircraft it is a bit more predominant. The nose down pitch moments going from flap 3 to fall is sometimes a little bit more severe. I think I did notice that on the 320 Neos when I started flying those. There you go, got 1,000 to go. So it was a bit more alarming, I suppose, but you just get used to it after a while. Yeah, so the Fenix when selecting config 3, always have a nosedive speed management stood. Familiar, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look at it when we do, because I'll probably be landing. I'll be landing config 3 in this aircraft. I should be. I'll have a look at the wind when we get there. But most likely config 3, because I think it's just a little bit more responsive in pitch in the flare in config 3. Certainly for the Fenix. So I prefer. I don't really like landing a real aircraft in config 3 in real life, because it increases the tail strike potential. But Fenix haven't modelled the correct pitch attitude. I think they did. They did have it, and then the update they've done recently, the pitch attitude has gone back to an incorrect one, so it's about 2.5–3 degrees in config 3, which is wrong. It should be about 5 to 6 degrees in config 3 for the landing attitude. So in real life I generally sort of land more config 4, unless it's really windy and gusty, in which case I might consider config 3. So at the minute the tail strike risk isn't quite there. Back out star. There we go, out cruise. Looking gone below. That's all good. Overhead's all looking good. No changes there. Normally have a bit of a tilt which we could adjust. We'd manually adjust this. This seems to be an automatic 1 degree up. We'd probably adjust that as necessary for the weather radar. How are we doing? Flight plans, red mouse. Progress, that's all fine. 370 still. Performance, that could go back to 4. I think that was the cross index, I can't actually remember that. Let's have a look at the routes. Four, yeah, good. Fuel, a little bit of extra fuel, half an hour, that's good. That's pretty much, we took 600 extra plus 200 contingencies, so yeah, a little bit more than what we were expecting. Expect sort of 800 or 900 really there, but that's fine. Maybe use a little bit less on taxi. So yeah, a ton up on the CNR for Marseille, which is nice. Secondary is copied as well. So where are we? Voul. So 23 minutes in, 23, 24 minutes into Voul, and it's going to be about 5.7. So Voul, yeah, 23, 24 minutes, that's looking good. Now we took 600 plus contingency, 800 on top of that. Is, what's that, 5.7. 6, yeah, about 5.5, 5.6, more or less, which is what we got, 5.7, 5.6. So yeah, fuel burn's looking good. Fuel flow is still a little bit low. I hate to say it, but it's a tiny little bit low. Normally the CEOs, certainly the CEOs without the winglets, because this is, you know, still got the old-fashioned sharklets on the end. Winglets are going to improve the fuel burn a little bit. But yeah, I took a 320 CEO down to, where did I go? Down the Canaries, I think, the other week, and that was showing about 1,200 to 1,100 kilograms an hour per engine. I mean, granted, we had a bit more fuel than this, we're a bit heavier, but yeah, probably expect about a ton to 1,100 as pretty much normal fuel figures. So this is definitely a little bit better, but still, you know, in my opinion, it could just be increased just a little bit. Be interesting to see what this fuel figure would be like at a lower altitude at 350, much heavier aircraft as well. But yeah, it should be a little bit higher than that. But it's only a tiny bit. I mean, it's still looking pretty good. Right, let's grab some weathers. So we've got Paris. I think Paris and Lyon are probably two good ones. So we've got Paris, Lyon, yeah. Toulouse maybe at a push. Yeah, we've got 4 then. We can get Paris, Lyon. In fact, let's just get Paris, Lyon, Nice and Marseille, because that's effectively what we're doing. To AOC weather. Yeah, it doesn't really matter which one. Okay, Orly, it's a bit of an easier airport. So Orly's looking good, variable 3 knots, good veers, bit of clouds around 80 degrees, that's fine. So Orly's wide open. So we're looking at Lyon. Another base, so it's a good place to go. Do two nice long runways. Lyon is 360 at 10, so using 36, 35, whatever the runway is. Good veers, bit of cloud. But yeah, Lyon's wide open as well. Let's have a look at ML. I think that's Marseille. I think that's Marseille. I can't actually remember that. I'm trying to remember my 4-letter codes. LFML, yeah, that's it. So there we go, as expected, is what we saw on the ground cavo gate. So yeah, this is why it's a good alternate, because it's all nice and open. Thanks for doing the weather check. Yes, fine, Christian. And let's have a look at Nice as well. And then so 160 at 5, all the 9s. Good, there's nothing really stopping us in. RNAV 22, let's just write this down just so we got it. 160 at 5, 22, 027. Good, so yeah, probably 04. Let's have a quick look, see what they do in the real world, because that's always a good indication. Do we see anything? Do we see much of Paris? Not really, not yet. So yeah, they're using 04 in real life, so that's what we're set up for. Such light winds. There might even be notes, to be honest. Let's have a quick look at the notes in Navigraph. It might tell us. Nice. Radar minimums. Yeah, that's good. That's probably preferential runways. Runway operations. Yeah. Yeah, I can't see anything. Rivals. No, there's nothing really there at all, is there? Good. Okay. Okay, there's nothing. Sometimes there's a preferential runway system in use. It usually sort of defines some sort of wind speeds in there, but there's nothing there. But it's such an item variable, we can just basically take 04. We're doing the 04 RNAV as well, so RMP, that one I think. Nope, not that one. Where is it? RMP Alpha, that would be the one. That's it, so we need that one there. Visual point, yeah. So the visual parts. You can have an ILS as a backup. We don't usually do that. The reason we don't do ILSs in Nice is because there's a lot of rich people down here. Certainly all over these peninsulas. In Thebes, yeah, lots of money, lots of people, and they don't like aircraft flying over the top of them. So we always come in this way over the bay and then just do a visual landing, as long as the visibility is fine, which is usually generally always the case in Nice. You know, occasionally you get a bit of crap weather. When it's a bit low cloud based, then we do the ILS, but yeah, most of the time it's the visual approach. ILS 04, I'll have it there just in case we do it. Doubt we will. The approach was Nice, I think I said. And there. Ground charts. Airports. Where's parking stands? There we go. A normal place to park is usually sort of around here, somewhere outside Terminal 2, so any one of these stands will be fine. Should be able to see Paris down there somewhere. Let's go the aerodrome brief up, see if there's anything there which is worthwhile. What am I looking at? There we go, Lido. Nice. I think this is just standards. I don't think it's not circling minima, it's just standard visual minima, I think, effectively. Or stability criteria, I should say. CCI. Circling approaches. Okay, it does say instrument approaches followed by circling with visual prescribed tracks as depicted on the associated circling chart. Stable criteria for circling applies. So it is stable. It is circling minimum, circling stability criteria. Okay, it sort of helps us to a degree. It sort of doesn't make too much of a difference. It does help with a couple of things. Missed approach, a couple of different missed approaches, yeah. Bulk landing after missed approach points. It's 2-2, we're not doing that. Good, okay. It just says preferential runway 04 left or right, that's it, there's no wind. Okay, good. I can put a few things in the boxes then to set this up, which should be good. Need the threshold of MN 04 left, that's going to be needed. Which I come back to in a bit. A lovely day. Now, weren't they supposed to have fixed the heat blur as well? I haven't got any heat blur here at all. So it's fixed, it's completely been removed. Oh well. There's Paris, and Charles de Gaulle, possibly Charles de Gaulle down there. Oh, there's Charles de Gaulle. Yeah, you can't miss it. That may have been, what's the name of it? Le Bourget, possibly. That's somewhere near the city, that's down there somewhere. And then all east to the south west, that's probably it, just behind the pillar. Yeah, that'd be all east, sounds good. That's wide open. Alright, one of the things I want to have a couple of look at is we'll see about QDM. 043, good. Radio 043, 223. So there's that one. Let's have another one. So I want 30 degrees on that to 5.3. Yeah, I want another one. FMN 04 left. 201 93. This will all make sense. You probably think, what on earth am I doing? But this will all make sense as I speak to it before we start the approach brief. Good, yeah, that's looking good. What's the blame, HD, ATC? You're late by 36 minutes, oh dear. Yeah. I don't know, Christian. Blame the dog. There we go. There's got to be a code for the dog somewhere. Got to walk the dog. And let's have the runway threshold in there. It's 5. 22 degrees. 027. Minimums are come back to config 3, that's what we'll be doing. Yeah, very nice day. Can we see the Eiffel Tower? Anybody remember where the Eiffel Tower is? I can actually remember. Somewhere. Was it around there? I don't know. I think I need to turn my level of detail up or something. There's no videos or anything. There's a couple of stadiums. Seems to be next to each other. Is that 2 stadiums next to each other in real life? I've got no idea. I guess it's around there somewhere. Isn't Disneyland, isn't it, on the other side? Is that the east side, I think? I think Disneyland's around here somewhere. I don't actually know. I've got no idea about Paris. This is part of the, I don't know, probably a Palace House, Palatial House maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know Paris, unfortunately. Not that well. EasyJet from 6. On a flight now too, following today's EasyJet from 6 this morning. Avion Express now in Montpellier. Will a copy of this stream be uploaded to King Social London instantly? Yeah, it should be, Clark. So this should automatically save. Hopefully it'll save in HD. Like I noticed last couple of streams I did, it didn't seem to say anything about HD, but I could watch it back in 1080. So I think it was in HD. But yeah, it should be. So you'll be able to watch this back at any point. And then I'll discuss what I'm doing a bit later on in terms of the approach and stuff. So you shouldn't be able to miss anything. I shouldn't forget anything. And obviously, if there's anything which you're not too sure, if there's any questions, obviously just put something in the comments section below, and I can answer that. Oh, hello, buddy. There's my dog. You're right. You're still alive. Good boy. Bless you. You're right. Are you going to bugger off? Yeah, just make sure I'm still alive. Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, bugger off then. This is quite good. 04 left. Got Pappies on the right hand side, 3 degrees. So that's interesting. This Pappy is calibrated for threshold overflights of type of 380 aircraft. Obstacle clearance is guaranteed up to 3.8 nautical miles. So obviously 380 is quite a large aircraft. We're not quite as big as that, so it wouldn't actually be that bad if we saw 3 reds on the Pappies, because we're not quite as big as the 380. So if we saw 3 reds on approach, that's actually probably pretty normal because it's calibrated for a much bigger aircraft. Seeing 3 reds means you are actually probably at the correct height. And probably as long as you cross the threshold at about 50 feet, you're in a good position. Again, the 04 right has got exactly the same. So calibrated for 747s. It's probably even worse on 04 right because 747s, the cockpit's eye height is actually higher than the 380. So yeah, it won't be a bad thing if you see 3 reds. What else did I want to do? Let's see, MSAs, that's one thing I do want to look at. What's it based off? MSA. Okay, it's based off the airfield reference points. Okay, we'll just put Nice in for that, that's fine. So 12.5, 12.5 to the north, and 3231. So anything about 5,000 feet to the south is looking pretty good. Obviously that's all over the sea. Radials 05058. Actually, I'm not going to put the radials in because that's just going to make it more confusing for the navigation display. Because I've got a couple of radials in there for the approach, so I don't want to put radials in for the MSA because that's just going to make it harder. Hey Lemon, how you doing? Oh, I do fancy a cup of tea. I wonder if I buzz that, I wonder if her indoors will come and get me a cup of tea if I text her. Probably push me luck here, but let's see how good of a cabin manager she is. Actually, I won't do that because she wanted me to go and get some chocolate for lunch, which I didn't do, so she probably will tell me just to Foxtrot Oscar. Hey Captain, how you doing? Is it cheating if I insert myself? No, Christian. Do you mean like using the old VOR approach that they used to do? How long before landing? How long we got? So it was just before 1300, so maybe about an hour and 10 minutes ish. 1453. So yeah, in about an hour. So yeah, about an hour we'd be landing more or less. Your sim crashed. Oh no. Oh dear, sorry. Yeah, I do actually want to do a video on 22 because we've identified, well, I think most airlines have identified, we certainly identified a few issues with the approach, and people weren't quite compliant to the procedure like they should do. And there was a few ISRs, few FDM events were triggering on the 22 right approach, and people descending a bit too low. So if we can find it, VPT, that's probably a good one to use. Yeah, there's some notes here. I'm not too sure if Navigraph has quite got the notes that we need. It's probably not too far off actually. Track 330. Yeah, there we go. So there's a couple of notes here which kind of sort of talks about it a little bit. So it says, well, on track 303 at 1000, maintain visual contact to obstacles. So, you know, we're on this track here, 303, we've got to maintain sort of visual separation. But it says 1000 feet, and there's another note here, so PAPI's mandatory, and their offset's 5 degrees, so you should be able to see them, but it's a 3.5 degree PAPI's. Now, people were, I believe, descending to 1000 feet or descending below 1000 feet far too early because the PAPI's are a little bit steeper. They were sort of rolling out on 4 reds, and the FDM software wasn't liking it either. That was flagging up all sorts of things. So there was kind of sort of, I think it was a notice to crew. There was something about it. There is something in the brief, I think. Just have a quick look at it. There was certainly a warning. Just have a look through. Yeah, there we go. So this is the VOR. It says do not descend from 1000 feet too early before turning finals, and then 1000 feet altitude must be maintained until capturing the 3.5 degree descent path. That's approximately 2.7 nautical miles from the threshold. So if you sort of drew, if you had the threshold and put a 3-mile radius ring in, effectively what people were doing was we're descending well before that sort of ring. So yeah, it sort of came up a little bit. So that was sort of something that we had to discuss quite sort of thoroughly every time we sort of went into the sim and talked to various people about it at work. So it is something which I kind of want to do, but you know, I need the winds really to be sort of coming from this direction to be able to sort of do it really. I don't want to just do it on VATSIM just for the sake of it, especially if everybody's going to be using 04. But it's a couple of extra gotchas I think on 22 which you just kind of need to be aware of. You know, the sort of steeper glide slope, or PAPI should I say, just add a little bit of a complication to it. And you can see there it says at 1260 feet at the November 22 Delta waypoint. If you look at the RMP approach, which is it that one? But yeah, it might be that one there that we do, RMP Delta. We used to do VORs, but we don't do those anymore because we've got the RNAV procedures. So again, we've got sort of minimums here. Minimum's 1260 feet. So, you know, from the Foxtrot November 22 Delta waypoint, that's the final descent point. So, you know, you can do this in sort of fine lap in managed approach, and it would just go down to effectively those minimums, or whatever you wind in. But, you know, this is a minimum, don't forget. You know, it's 5 kilometres fierce and 1260 feet. So if you had a cloud base at sort of 1400 feet, then yeah, you might need to go down that to get below the clouds to sort of be visual. But, you know, if it's a Cav OK day, but really strong winds, you know, there's no real rush to get down to this sort of height. You know, you just get down to, I don't know, maybe 1400 feet, 1500 feet, whatever it is. There's no real major, you know, rush to get down. I mean, you're at 3000 feet there. So if you just went down to 1500 feet on the approach, and then you just maintain 1500 feet after passing this waypoint here, and you know, carrying on. You know, so it says not that one. What was the other one? PT. That one. So yeah, it says a minimum of 1000 feet, but it's a minimum. You don't have to go down to that. If it's visual on sort of Cav OK day, but strong sort of southerly winds, just maintain 1500 feet until you start picking up the PAPI's, and then you just start descending once you've got them. So, you know, you don't have to go down that early. do flight schools test you for physics and maths knowledge you took in high school? I mean, is there like an entrance exam? Yes. That's exactly your problem, Clark. Yeah, that's kind of why it'd be good to do a video of it. But I need the wins. Really. I was kind of hoping actually there'd be good southerly winds today, so I could kind of demonstrate it, but there isn't. So I was like, well, okay, I'll just do the normal approach, which still a lot of people sort of struggle with anyway. So do they do the? I want to say yes, Lemon. I mean, it's been a very, very, very long time since I've done that. But did we do entrance? Yeah, we must have done a maths exam. I'm sure we did. I'm sure we did something. So they probably do physics, maybe not. I wouldn't say physics. I don't think they really test you on that. It's more arithmetic. You know, what's 3.92 multiplied by 2.78 or something? It might be something. You know, I mean that's probably a stupid example, but there might be some questions like that in there. But physics not so much because you don't. I mean, I was crap at sort of science at school. You know, I was never particularly good at it. I didn't do physics. I mean, I did do physics, but not as a sort of a main core subject. And my knowledge of physics before I started flying was basically nothing. And I wasn't really tested on it before I started flying either. So all the entrance exams. So it didn't really matter too much that my physics knowledge wasn't very good. But you do learn a little bit. You do learn a little bit on the ATPLs. You cover various subjects, and that sort of covers. You know, physics are involved in that in one way or another. So, you know, you will learn it. Right, anyway, let's have another quick look at this and what we're doing, because there's a few things to talk about before we go down. So let's have another quick look at the weather. It's actually quite good, don't have to print anything. So Cavalcade is still in Marseille, so that's fine, we can go there if we need to. What we got here now, 1605. I think this is the same actually, it's 22, yeah. Right, let's do a quick landing distance calculation, just to make sure there's no problems with that. So that landing weight going to be 56 plus 3.5, so it's like 59.7, 60 tons-ish. 60 tons will be fine. So Nice, 04 left, dry. The weather, that's the weather, good. Landing weights, we say about 60 tons. Lower the brake, yeah. Idle, manual, flap 3. So it seems to be thinking we're just going to use all of the runway lengths, so I might just go medium all the brake, just because maybe a little bit of a tailwind component. Yeah, we've got 2 knots tailwind component. All the thrusters on. Yeah, manual end. So let's go medium. So landing distance isn't a problem with the tailwind component. So that's done. Arrival, let's have a quick look at. So we've got the Nizar 7 Romeo, is it? So yeah, 7 Romeo. So Nizar, a few height constraints, so 340, 320, between 200 and 24 there, Amphu, Typic and Muzz. And effectively Muzz is sort of the clearance limit point there, so let's just make sure that's good and in there. The constraints on? No, that'll help. Are there any constraints? Why are there no constraints in? Yeah, it's not really got the full arrival in, is it? Not quite. Make sure there's no other arrivals that I could be using. No, okay, we're sort of doing a bit of a condensed style, I suppose, but it doesn't really matter too much. So we've got 16 at Amphu. Okay, this is where this flight plan's a bit crap, really. It should be a bit better than this. Yeah, Amphu, Typic. Mez is 80. Good, that's done. That's it, that's it, that's it. That's the go arounds, yeah, Neris, lovely. That's done, that's done. What's the minimums? The minimums for the approach. It's RMP Alpha. Minimum's 2,000 feet. It's fine. Fuel we got plenty of, and the secondary is just a copy. Good. Let's give me some range things so we should approach the curve, something like -3. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Christian. Yeah, it's one way of doing it. There's a couple of ways of doing it, really. But so anyway, let's have a quick look at the brief and just sort of what it says. So sort of the big picture stuff, the weather's fine, there's no problems there, we can do this, good visibility, so there's no limitations on that. The aircraft's all fine, apart from the weather radar, that's not going to be an issue. The NOTAMs, don't remember seeing anything there. A few cranes around, a few other things, but on the whole, I think we're good. Yeah, go to Nice. Firefighting service, that's 5 the time we're at. Good, so there's no NOTAMs to worry about. Threats, so there's also a bit of terrain around, which we've discussed, 12,500 to the north, but we're going to be coming in this way, so sort of 5,000 to the south is going to be safe. In terms of the actual brief of the arrival, it's Cat B airfield because of terrain and circling approaches. It's quite complex taxiways. There's a few hot spots, lots of helicopter traffic, so a lot of VFR traffic going around here as well, which could be an issue. Potentially wind shear, but that's not going to be affecting us today, and lots of birds as well, because we're near the coast, so lots of seagulls, and as we all know, seagulls are dickheads. The arrival 04 left is the preferred landing runway, which is what we're going to be doing. Normally expect radar vectors won't be doing that, it's just be doing the sort of procedural approach. Published 3 degrees. There's 2 flashing lights either side of the runway, should be hopefully to see it, but it's daylight, we should be able to find there. Not doing the ILS, and we're going to be doing the RMP Alpha, so it's an instrument approach followed by circling with visual prescribed tracks as depicted on the associated circling chart, which is this one here. So it's an initial instrument approach, which is this, and then after the Mike November 04 Alpha, we're going on to a visual approach, which is this one here. Missed approach, there's a couple of missed approaches that we need to follow. So the missed approach in the box is this one here. So if we're not visual at this waypoint here, which we will be because it's a nice day, we basically, or if we can't land for whatever reason, we break off, go down here, and 185 knots in this first turn as well, I believe it is. So somewhere, there we go. So probably flap on in that first turn, and then we're going down to Neras, sorry. If we go around after that, so if we do the visual approach, and we come down here, and then we go around at this point, we've basically got to do this bulk landing procedure, which isn't really a bulk landing from the runway, but it's effectively another go around from here. So we've got to do this as sort of selected. So we'd have to go around, normal go around actions, but we'd have to pull 354 if that's not already done, and then 043, overfly the airfield, and then once we're 5 miles from the Charlie Golf Sierra, which is probably worth hard tuning, then we make a right hand turn off to 110 degrees. So different missed approach there, which is what it says. So climb straight ahead, and then pass in Hospital Lenval, which is 5 miles. Alright, so climb to 3,000. So again, 3,000 feet flat, missed approach. But it is 3,000. So at least the go around altitude is the same on both sides. So let's just hard tune this as well, Charlie Golf Sierra, because that's going to be useful. Charlie Golf Sierra. Let's just hard tune on that right hand side. The rest of that's all 2-2, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Departures, not too worried about that. So, how are we going to do it? So, how are we going to fly the approach? So, there's always a chance that we can be a little bit high and fast, so we'll hopefully slow down nice and early. So, we're going to get to maybe 180 knots at Bisbo, flap 1 by this point, 3,000 feet, and then just fly level Bisbo to the Fox November 04 Alpha, which is our final descent point. So as soon as we're 3,000 feet and within 2 miles of this, we can arm the approach, and that should say final blue and then nav, I think, in the top right. So we should get the FMAs to confirm that. And we can do it in managed descent, so we can do final lap, and then that would just go down to the 9 November 04 Alpha waypoint. Once we're visual, we can disconnect the autopilots and get it on track FPA and fly this 354 radial inbound on track up to here, and then as soon as we're visual, we can then fly the 043 inbound to the actual runway itself. In terms of configuration, what I'll probably do is flap 2 along here, and then just after we get to the Fox, or just after Fox November 04, gear down and flap 3. That's our landing config. In terms of sort of height checks, we have the runway here, so we can double check this. So you know, that's 4 miles. We're going to be roughly about 1,200 feet, more or less. The runway threshold is, we've got it somewhere. Where's the runway threshold? On the airport elevation, about 12 feet. So yeah, 1,210-ish is what we need for 4 miles. 043 is the inbound QDM, so we'll set that on the track. And then what? The other thing I've got in here, chaps, is because it's using circling stability criteria. One thing we could do is put a difference. We could sort of effectively put something in the secondary and then put a new minimum in the secondary, but we're not going to do that because it's just faffing around too much. But yeah, the stability, circling stability criteria applies to this. So what we need to be, if we get that, there we go. So we need to be within 30 degrees either side of the runway track, which I've got these 2 dotted lines here, so we need to be within that effectively to be stable, which we will be because the final approach track effectively takes us up there. There's the runway centre line, so we've got that depicted on the ND as well, and that's just been put in the fixes page. So as long as we're sort of within these 30 degrees, which we can visual and on profile, we're effectively stable. Now the stable height, because it's circling, is only 400 feet above the aerodrome, so we effectively need to be on the centre line, and on the centre line, but within these 30 degrees. We need to be in a good place to land, so vertically we need to be on sort of on profile as well by about 410 feet on the barrow. So that's effectively the circling minima. But obviously we've got an instrument minimum as well with 2,000 feet, which will be fine because we'll be visual today. So that's how we're going to do that. Landing is going to be pretty straightforward. Pappies are a little bit hard to see on this airport sometimes. We've discussed the fact we might see 3 reds because they're calibrated for a bigger aircraft. And I've got medium order brake, flap 3, and we're probably vacate over, if not Foxtrot 1, Echo Golf, and down Echo Golf, most likely straight across, then down Tango, and then we'll park on one of these stands up here on Terminal 2. May do a little bit of single engine taxi if we get 3 minutes. Let's plug you back in. And you. What else is there to say? Yeah, go arounds. So it's a little bit more complicated. We've got the RLS if we need it. So yeah, if we have to go around at any point prior to this point, it's just standard go around actions, go around flaps, bring the flaps up once, that would be flap 2. Read the FMAs, that should hopefully say Mantoga SRS nav, hopefully, and then follow the missed approach point. And as soon as we've got a positive climb, get the gear up and then just do it that. If we have to go around after this, we'll standard go around actions again, so go around flaps. But what we'll probably have to do is pull track or heading soon after, because it might automatically go in nav, because that's what the aircraft will do. So I might just have to pull this quickly, just get the actually about 350 degrees, and 360 is going to be thereabouts, and then just overfly the runway, climb to 3,000 feet. It's a slightly different go-around procedure if we've passed our last waypoint there. Company message, what's that? Load sheet, is that the load sheet? Was that the preliminary? Yeah, I think it was as well. Came through, an hour after we went. What else is there to say? I don't think there's much else really. It's relatively straightforward. It's just flying it. I think it's the important bit. Is just flying this accurately. But we can do this first part. We can do this in managed approach. There's no problems there. We can do that without any issues. Is there anything else on there that's really that important? Yeah, so it says don't overfly this peninsula here because there's a lot of rich people there. That winch. Transat 5,000 feet. Have Phoenix done this yet? I don't think they have. Yes, yeah, it's flight level, so that should be 060-ish. So this is another thing that Phoenix, I don't know why they're doing this or why they haven't adjusted this, but on all our aircraft we have a transition altitude in this field, not the transition flight level. So this should say transition altitude for me. If you're going to put a transition flight level, then really effectively with that sort of nice high QNH, you effectively want 1,000 feet above the transition altitudes, so 6,000 or a flight level 60 would be fine with that QNH. If you had a low QNH, say like 980, then you'd probably want a little bit more, so maybe 1,500 feet or 2,000 feet, because the altimeter is going to be under reading on a QNH or on a standard, should I say. So anyway, that's done. We'll talk about the MSA. It's going to be a nice, easy VMC day as well, so it's not too much. We might get the cabin secure a little bit early as well, just because this last little bit's a bit complicated. So yeah, maybe get the cabin secure at about 15,000 feet. Yeah, very high flying eagle it was, Christian. And actually, because of the type of approach, the FOC is actually quite a good place to be, because you'll be able to see the runway a bit easier, which obviously is not quite so easy in this seat, because as you bank in, the sort of runway would be sort of over here somewhere, so it might be a little bit outside of your. I suppose you can dip your head down a bit, which is what we'd normally do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward approach. I've noticed a lot of people sort of get it wrong, not get it wrong so much, as a bit derogatory, but they don't quite fly it. Hello, buddy. Yeah, they don't quite fly it as accurately or as probably as well as what I think they'd want to, and I think it's just really probably the configuration. And certainly find this last little visual bit, and it's quite easy just from this point here. Of course, if you are at 2,000 feet, which is what the FMGC will basically compute you to be, is what's what it's saying before 2,000 feet, you're still quite far away. So really, once you're visual, you don't really need to get down to 2,000 feet at all. Just sort of take the automatics out and just fly it, and just use, use some sort of rough distances and heights to really give you an idea. So 5 miles is 5 miles is 1,500 feet, 4 miles is 1,200 feet, 3 miles is 900 feet. Thereabouts. So just use some sort of rough ideas. And the other thing you should get, I think, if it's all coded correctly, which it should be, something else that can help is you get the little green yo-yo. So you should get a little green yo-yo there, which will sort of give you your rough. It's sort of the calculated lateral vertical deviation, should I say? So that's almost a bit of like a fake glide slope. But as long as the FMGC is coded properly, you can sometimes follow that, because that will give you a rough idea of roughly how high you should be. But that has to be coded correctly for it. And obviously the other thing we need to do is obviously make sure we're on the right QNH as well, because if we're on the wrong QNH, we're a final app, then it could be bad news. Yeah, so it doesn't have the runway in here, so I'm not too sure that the green yo-yo will actually be any good. It may not display anything, because it generally needs a runway waypoint with a sort of an approximate height for it to work. This is where if you activated the secondary, if you put, I don't think it's going to really make much difference, but if we just put in the arrival runway 04 with no approach, 04 left, no start, nothing. So now that all it is, just from after Medox, it's got the centre fix. We could technically put 412 feet, and that's our circling minimum, so we've got to be stable by 412 feet, which is 400 feet above the runway. And if we activated this secondary, because there's now a runway in here with an estimated height above the threshold, 61 feet, which is more or less correct, that would then potentially give you a green yo-yo, which would give you a vertical deviation. So, you know, we could try it, see if it works. And I've got about, what, 5 or 6 minutes until we go down. So yeah, that's something else which you could do, but you know, you're just faffing around really. I suppose if you had the FMGC, the Mac 2 on a separate iPad to your hand, you know, you could probably do it quite easily. But you know, it's a bit of a faff to be sort of looking in and out and doing that all the time. If you're doing it down here. So one thing I did do was check the system pages, which was a bit naughty. So that's still good. That's still good. Still good. Metrics, that's looking good. Hydraulics is fine. Fuel. So what we've done, we've burnt 3.2, 4.2. What's that? 7.4, 7.5 more or less. So that's balanced. There's no leaks, and yeah, that's what we left with, which is nice. APU is good. Temperatures are fine. Doors, wheels, and flight controls. No abnormal indication on the flight controls. Right, do one last little check at Mike Tango Lima. On the fuel, just double check it, but there was no leaks, so it should be fine. Oh, I feel a bit lonely now because Christian's crashed. I sympathise with Christian because obviously you know the problems I've been having, and it's a shame. It's nice that this is actually working. Who's that? Oh, we've got an Italian airspace. Italian controller online, but there's no French control. It's a shame. Is anybody there? A couple of departures, one arrival, which will probably be me. Yeah, this is what is frustrating, the fact that the PC, well, it was Fenix really, it wasn't actually the PC, it wasn't the sim, it was just Fenix was not loading up earlier on, and I was hoping to do this flight before lunch and then do the return later on, but yeah, it wasn't working, so I've just had to do this one. But I've got a few hours in the morning, tomorrow morning before I go to work, so I'm tempted, as long as it loads up fine and works, I might do a flight tomorrow. I'm tempted to do something to Dublin as soon as I've got the scenery for that today. Let's get, in fact, there's no weather, so I'll have terrain on my side, you can go on weather. One thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to the loo very quickly. Or the thingy, why wasn't that? So the browser's there. Let me just see if I can restart Fly Live Studios. Can I no. Can I refresh it? Not too sure why Fly Live Studios wasn't working. Let's try it again. Because at least we get a landing rate out of it. Where did I go from? Luton. Easy. 3. Kilo Charlie. Yeah, it's annoying. My my overlay, my Fly Live Studio seems to have gone. I don't know why. 160 centimeters height. Do you think that would be a problem for becoming a commercial pilot? Have you? Yes, loads, Lemon. What is that in feet? That's what we want, about 5 feet something. Oh, we got some titchy girls that work for us. That's still do it, you know. So yeah, it'll be fine. I'm sure it will. So 20 centimeters. That's another 1.5 feet. So what are you, about 5.5 feet? Yeah, there's no problems. No problems with that at all. Can someone recommend any attitudes? Possibly, I don't know, because again, it's been a very, very long time since I've done it. Okay, that's annoying. It's well, it was working, wasn't it, the other day? I'm trying to think where it was. Oh, there we go. Is that working? That might have done it. might be in business. Oh, now it's disappeared. Oh, it was there. It was there and then it's gone. Right, you're going to stay. Yes, no, yes, no. Let's go into window modes. Right, good, that's promising. How long have we got? A couple of minutes. Right, I'm just going to go and nip to the loo very quickly, then we start going down, so off the air for 1 second. Right, it's good. I am back. Yeah, it's the Fly Life Studios banner, that's it. Yeah, the only reason I want to do it is just because it's got the landing rate on it. Right, so what did we want? 160, I think was the initial descent. Yeah, 160. So this might take Lima about an hour and 16 and 4 tons. So last minute fuel check. We're going to Lima hour and 15, so yeah, just about behind that, and 600 on top of that is about 3.6, 3.5, so yeah, a little bit more, so about 400 extra on top of that, so that's just that fuel burn, just not quite as much as what it'd normally be. Anyway, let's start going down. 160. East traffic easy, 13 Kilo Charlie is descending to flight level 160 to be level at Amphu. Down you go. And descent 160 blue. 1027 is set. Who's lurking? The landing rates lies. Hello Gav. How you doing? It's 1027 still, winds still a bit more southerly, but that's fine. 22 degrees. 70. 70 at 5. 22 degrees, good. I mean, technically with a bit of a tailwind, you probably don't really want to be landing with flap 3. Let me just have a quick look actually. Let's see. So have a quick look at the landing flaps policy. See if there's anything in there. Yeah, so the forecast tailwind is landing is greater than 10 knots. Config 4 should be used, so it's not above that, so that's fine. Good, yeah, it's just not a major issue. So flap 3 is fine, we can do that. Set a fuel factor -5 helps me a little bit more realistic. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think that, because I mean that's adjusting the OFP, isn't it? So yeah, if you're artificially reducing... But I was thinking this, if you're artificially reducing your OFP fuel, you're still loading less fuel on the aircraft, so there's still going to be a discrepancy because it's not burning as much. So it doesn't matter what the OFP says, it's actually burning less, thrust idle. The sim is burning less than what the OFP is calculating the burn to be at. So it doesn't really matter what fuel factor you set it at. You know, what you would need to do is set... you know, have fuel factor at 0, but then, you know, deliberately reduce the amount of fuel you load, which, you know, normally you just wouldn't do. So I don't know, I sort of see what you're getting at, but, you know, it still doesn't change the fuel burn in the sim. You know, the fuel burn in the sim is not the same as what the fuel burn is on the OFP, if that's correct. Or, you know, is that really... Does that really affect the difference in the fuel burn? You may have a point actually. I mean, yeah, maybe I need to try that. Maybe I need to change the fuel factor to -5. Yeah, maybe I need to try that. That's a good point. I will certainly look at it. Alright, let's have constraints off. Sorry, the dog's going nuts at something outside. So if it helps to make a little bit... Okay, yeah, I will try it. I'll give that a go, actually. It's a good point. It's probably worth looking at. Right, so anyways, Marseille is over here somewhere, so as expected. Cav OK is what the forecast was saying. Over it's good. Obviously lots of terrain up to the north here. Is it any higher? What we need is the grid moors. That's quite good actually, we got this. So 13.8, yeah, there we go. 13.8 is the highest around here. 13.8, 10.7, and don't know what it is above there. Again, I do hope you can hear me alright. It's still sort of quite loud in my ears, but I'm just hoping that the microphone's loud enough. Fenix being heavy and frames on the landing limit. Okay, yeah, but this isn't... One thing I didn't do is I was looking at getting scenery for Nice as well, because there is scenery by... is it Simrings? I can't remember. There's something on the marketplace where there is Nice scenery, and I was looking at some of the reviews, and some of the reviews was saying it was quite heavy on frames, and I think this was written by guys which had pretty decent PCs as well, so maybe a little bit better graphics card than I've got. So when I read that, I thought, maybe I won't look at that. And actually, when I loaded into the default scenery in Nice, it was actually very good. It was still very, very good anyway. So I thought, you know, I don't need payware scenery for Nice because I think it's good enough as it is. Which I probably should have looked at for Dublin, because I bought the Dublin scenery, but I had no idea how good the default Dublin scenery was. But there we go. That's the way it goes. So yeah, Nice is pretty good. No issues, fuel checks about, plus, okay, bit checks, yeah, that's, yeah, plus or minus 100, yeah, that's pretty much what you'd normally see. you know, you may see a little bit more extra fuel over the OFP in reality, just because you might burn a little bit less on taxi, and you know your fuel burn might be a little bit less in flight. But yeah, no, that's pretty good. Okay, -5. I'll make a mental note of that, because that's probably quite a good point, because just having it adjusted ever so slightly would be better. Just write that down. Just fuel burn to -5. Maybe try that tomorrow if I get a chance. An LDA approach into my desktop map says too steep. Is that a bad thing? An LDA approach. So what's an LDA? I mean, it can be. Yeah. I mean, the reason it's saying too steep is because it's calculating it's not going to hit the height constraints from where you are. As you can see here, we've got a height constraint of 160 at AMFU. Which is in there in blue, and we're managed speed, managed descent, and we're on profile, but there's a little green dot, so the vertical deviation on the progress page would be next to nothing. Yeah, plus 29 feet. But if we were significantly higher, then it would say too steep path down here, because it means we can't actually make that constraint, and that's the same for any approach. It doesn't really matter where you are, but if it can't make the constraints on the approach, like the platform, because you're too high, potentially that's what I can come up with. There are a few times that I think in the sim it can come up with it as well, just because the FMGC isn't quite programmed. It's not spot on with like the constraints that you get in the flight path, and there's a few discrepancies here and there with speeds, etc. I know certainly one of the bugs it's got is, you know, it's got here 190 knots, which carries on to the next few waypoints. If I was to say 100, let's just look at the speed here. So we got no speed constraints in the waypoints afterwards. If I was to put 160 knots there, it should carry on to the other waypoints, but it doesn't all the time. It should be 160, but you can see there, it's still got it, but sometimes it doesn't carry on this speed constraint. You get at the first waypoint down to the next waypoints, which is what it should do. So there's a few minor little bugs in here occasionally, but I mean you can usually deal with it anyway. You know, you can just sort of manually select the approach and, you know, the modes you need, and just sort of compensate that way. And that's the other thing. I think Christian says it can't quite look ahead quite as well as the real aircraft, so it sort of takes, I think, a screenshot of like maybe speeds you're at the time, and think, oh, we're not going to make that. But actually, once you get down to the lower altitudes and actually start slowing down, it all works itself out. So I mean, there's a little bit of a discrepancy, because I don't think it's quite intelligent enough to look ahead and go, I'm going to be a lot slower there anyway, so I can probably make those constraints without any problem. Right, so what's the next one? 150, 120, so below 120 and 250 knots by Tibic. And this is the next big one from Muzz, 8,000. So flight level 80 from Muzz, we've got to get 8,000 down to 3,000, which is, there's not a lot of track miles to do that normally. Sometimes you get a bit of a tailwind as well, so just got to make sure we can get down to 3,000 by Bisbee. Let's cool the cabin down a little bit, so it's going to be quite warm on the ground. It's 1,000 to go, so let's keep on going down. Next constraint is 120. So we've got 120 blue. So we're just about hitting the constraint exactly at flight level 160 AMFU, which is what is expected. Do you actually always configure or set the standby altimeter in real life? Yes. Yes, I'm guessing you mean the ISIS. So this has to be on by flight level 200. That's the SOPs, but I mean, I usually just turn it on from top of drop, really, from as we start descending the cruise. I mean, there's no real hard and fast rule of when you do it, with the exception to it has to be done by 20,000 feet. But I mean, as with most things, some guys forget. But we generally want that on by 20,000 feet. But a lot of people would do it earlier. And the same here. I mean, we're not going to do it now because we're in the descent, but in the cruise we can just readjust this to the actual QNH. In fact, I think it's the same as the QNH 1027 in Luton, wasn't it? So, shall I have a look? Yeah, no, 1028. So, yeah, that's going to drop by 1 hectopascals as we get going. Really like landing videos. To Gav. Good, yeah, there you go, Gav. I think Gav is definitely doing well on his tutorial videos. So I've got somebody there 2,000 feet below us. So where are they going? Who are they and where are they going? This is where the VATSIM traffic is. Got to keep an eye on them. Might be going into Marseille. Yep, somebody going into Marseille. That's fine. So we're going to go behind them. They've got to conflict with us. Anybody on the ground? Nope, there's nobody on the ground in Nice either. So the airport was all ours. Right, so again, you can see because we're nicely below the profile and the speeds, the wind's not too much. We're sort of the bottom end of the speed gate, which is fine. I mean, maybe a little bit slower. ATC might say, "Oh, can you at least maintain 250 knots?" Because there might be guys behind us. So let's just go 250 knots just to make sure we're fast enough. But we're hitting the constraints for no problems at all. It's maximum 250 anyway. And after this, we can go down to 80, and you can see here we've got to go 80 down to 3,000 feet. And this is going to be the sector which there's quite a lot to lose there. As you can see, 30 miles. We've got 10,000 feet to lose now, effectively, and we want about 30 miles. We've just got that. If we keep this descent going, but yeah, this sector here is the bit where you've got to lose a bit of height and lose a bit of speed, which sometimes can be a little bit tough. You usually get radar vectors as well, so we've got to configure down to about 180 knots as well by the time we get here. So just got to be aware that it might need a little bit of speed brake just before we get to Bispo. I think it's direct lowering your flare, but it's not. So now I'm not holding back pressure on the flare. Yeah, Vitux, it's not direct law per se, but I mean there is something that goes on. Right, 80 blue. So at I think it's 50 feet, it's 100 feet, 50 feet. I can't remember exactly. You've got flare mode. So basically, what happens? Let me get it up because it might be easier to sort of explain. Because it's not direct law, but it sort of is. If that kind of makes sense. I mean, it isn't, but something does happen. Certainly the older aircraft, the 321 Neos don't do it, funnily enough, but these older ones do. So where have we got flare modes? So yeah, there we go. So when we pass 50 feet, the horizontal stab, because the horizontal stab is also trimming all the time. But at 50 feet that freezes, so it doesn't do anything after that. So then effectively you are in a sort of, the flare mode is essentially like a direct stick to elevator relationship, which is, effectively what direct law is. You move the stick so much and the elevator is going to deflect so much, which is exactly what it does in direct law. But also at 50 feet, it sort of, the mode sort of recognises the pitch attitude you're at. And then at 30 feet it starts putting the nose down, so it sort of targets minus 2 degrees over sort of 8 seconds at 30 feet, so that's sort of encouraging you to flare. Now the 321 Neos don't do that, funnily enough, but this does. So you kind of are in direct law because you've got a direct relationship between the elevator and the side stick, but it is not really known as direct law. because there's still a few protections effectively. See you later, Gav. See you in a bit. Right, so after this we can go down to 3,000. This is going to be the interesting bit. So let's keep going down. We are quite high now, I think. So 3,000, setting the QNH. And that is 1027. And 3,000 blue. So not looking too bad. Level off altitudes. Level off hours just before Bisbee. Traffic EC 13 Kilo Charlie has just left my uniform Sierra 9,000 feet, heading direct to Bisbee for the RNAV Alpha arrival from 304 left. Right, while we're down here we can activate the approach phase, cross and on the cabin, that's what we should have done. So I should have done that a bit late on that one, whoops. Just got chatting. Where's my checklist? So approach checklist Barrow Ref is QNH 1027. Seatbelts are on. Minimum is it's Barrow of 2,000 feet. Water brake is medium, and the FBs are stowed and disconnected. Chest complete. Okay, yes, this is looking pretty good actually. Let's just go in VS, just so I'm not going down too much. Yeah, visual of the ground as well, so happy with the terrain clearance. It's just got to go out for any VFR, traffic and any birds. Yeah, it's known as flare mode. Vitchux, it's sort of a weird sort of mode really, and it sort of changes. The 321 Neos don't have it, so they've got a slightly different way of doing it. They don't put the nose down, which when you start landing that thing for the first time, you go into the flare and you think, you know, what the bloody what's happening here? You know, it's not what I'm used to. So this is Saint-Tropez or Cannes, or maybe Cannes or Cannes, somewhere. Right, to stop the dickhead seagulls as well, landing lights are on. So we've got 3,000 feet to lose and about 9 miles, which is good. And I'll probably get down to 3,000 then start slowing down, which will be working fine. There's very light winds as well. God, there's a lot of spamming going on, isn't it? It's both me and Gav's channel. Gav was getting a lot of it last night. Nice cruise ship. Probably some Russian person, maybe. It's probably going to be impounded. So not too worried about CDA because it's an ILAV approach. We need to be level anyway, so it's you know, we're just going to get down really. It's not quite like the standard ILS. Yeah, next thing we kind of want this page up so we know how far away we are from the threshold. What's the time? Oh, got about 10 minutes till my missus is off work, so that should work out quite nicely. There we go, 1,000 to go. Start slowing it down. So level segment there, just inbound to the Fox November 04 waypoints. And blue VFEs, flat 1, space chats, flat 1. Outstar 180 selected. And there's the runway over there. So we'll be coming over here towards the big sort of pyramid hotel on that corner and then going up there. Out. Alright, so the next waypoint is within 2 miles with 3,000 feet, so that's looking nice. We can eye on that. And we have find a blue at-nav. As expected, Mr. Rich altitude is 3,000 feet. Blue flat 2, speed checks, flat 2. 160. So vertical deviation bricks coming in, which is looking sensible. Got the Charlie Golf Sierra hard tune, it's 5 miles the other side if we need to go around and do the bulk landing. And that should be on. There we go. So fine lap and Jet 3000 set for Mr. Approach. So it's looking good. Let's get the gear down. And manage speed. So track FB8. And flat 3. Speed check, flat 3. So now we're just going to slow down to VAP and go on this track. And basically what we want to do on visual now, so I'm happy we can continue with everything we're doing. Maybe a tiny little bit low. And what we got? 7 miles, so what's 3.7? It's 21, should be about 2,100 feet-ish, so yeah, we're just about there. So let's disconnect that. So FPA track. Oh. Keep you going down. Just going to turn this down a little bit. That's better. And disconnect the autopilots. Flight directors are off. And there we go.
100 above.
Auto thrust speed, which is what we need. And the inbound QDM is 043.
Minimum.
So minimum visual continue. And that's it, we just basically continue straight ahead up to here, and then we're just looking for this center line here, which is what we got. Just keeping an eye on the vertical. So 5 miles, 1,500 feet-ish, so yeah, we're up a couple of 100 feet high, which we will sort out in the turn. Obviously with all visual to the left as well, nice clear of the coast. So it should start picking up pappies at some point. Again, they are quite difficult to see occasionally. So we've got 4 miles, 1,200, so yeah, maybe 100 feet high. Not spoilers, yeah, be a good idea. And the landing checklist as well. So start coming around. So cabin is secure, go around and choose 3,000 feet, any commander is landing, no blues. Keep coming around, try not to go through that centre line, which I'm going to do. Just a tiny little bit. And what have we got? Just under 3 miles, so yeah, we're just about there. the neatest approach, but it doesn't help when I'm panning around all over the place.
.500.
So again, 410 feet effectively is the stability criteria because it's circling. I think there's one white there, which is looking okay. So it's 400 feet, we are stable. A bit of a tailwind, which is as expected.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
Spoilers, reverse green, and decel. And manual brakes. I forgot the Unicom calls, never mind, there's no one here. Traffic ET 13 Kilo Charlie's vacating 04 left. Airlines, a bit floaty, but that would do. So there you go, left here, straight ahead Tango, and then down the end to park. Yeah, it wasn't the best approach, a little bit sloppy on long final, but it was fine. Oh, I forgot the lights as well. Let's see. So I need a PM. Alright, out of the way. Let's go clear down here. Why the flight directors have to come off? I shall tell you that in a second. Right, that's off. That's off. That's done, and that's done. I think I've done that. I think I've done everything else. That's all started. Right, what was that? Why the flight directors have to come? Right, why take a couple of things really. One, because you're not following them. So when you've got the flight directors on, they're going to show, probably not. They're probably not going to show on the grounds. They obviously give, they're given guidance. They're given guidance and commands really to follow them. So if you're not following them anymore, because effectively you're looking out the window and flying the aircraft visually, like you would, you know, a Cessna and any other aircraft, you're not following any guidance. You're not following any sort of anything on the PFT effectively to guide you where you're going. You're just looking out the window and, you know, putting the aircraft where you want it to go, and, you know, using the flight power factor as well if you need to, just as a sort of bit of situational awareness. So that's one of the reasons why you turn them off, because you're not actually following any guidance. But the other thing you need to do, if you turn them, you need to turn both of them off, because that keeps the auto thrust in a speed mode. If you've got one off and one on, but you are potentially in open descent, which commands idle thrust, if you only turn one off, the aircraft stays in idle thrust. So that's really not good. You don't want to be in idle thrust as you sort of come around a base turn and final, and then realise you've got no speed, because, you know, that's effectively what killed a load of people on the Turkish flight in Amsterdam. You know, it's different systems, but same sort of principle. And they had a rad out fault, which is why they had idle thrust. But you know, it's the same thing. You don't want thrust idle. So by turning the flight directors, both of them off, it ensures your auto thrust stays in a speed mode, which means it's targeting VAP, which is what you want. So you're going to get thrust coming on to target that speed, rather than the thrust being at idle. So yeah, you've got to turn them off for that reason. But the other reason is because this was a visual approach. We're not following any guidance, because we're effectively looking out the window now to see where we're going. So because we're not following any guidance, the flight directors are useless, hence why we turn them off. So hopefully that explains that. Alright, that's all good. And if we had 3 minutes, we have about 3 minutes. Right, we can shut the engine down. So number 2 is confirmed. And yellow electric pump is on. APU's there as well. And APU gen's good. And electric pump is on. What do you use for visual cue example? Do you try and line up the runway with the centre of PFD amongst them? Yeah, sort of, yeah. Yeah, part of it is, part of it is just sort of experience. You just sort of know where the runway is. Maybe I'm a little bit, probably there might be a little bit better for the eye line, but yeah, effectively this is the sort of centre of your aircraft, the divide between the PFD and so you want the centre line there, but you just sort of, you draw sort of lines out from the runway and just sort of, visualise where you are on that sort of, that runway centre line, I suppose. I'll take the next stand, I think that would be fine. So yeah, it's a little bit of experience, and I don't really relate too many things inside the flight deck. It's more sort of a visual picture, just making sure that visual picture is good. Right, 5.8 should be fine, or 5.0 Charlie even. So APU is on, we got brake pressure. Yeah, there's no centre line, that's interesting. Just park it wherever you want then. Oh, there's a line on the other stand. Oh well. Doesn't really matter, does it? Anywhere. That would do. That'll be fine. Alright, parking brakes on. APU's there, good, that's done. Engines are off. Seat belts are off. Tax light should have been off. Again, need a PM. Yeah, just waiting for less than 10% on the N1. Beacons off. Turn these off. Please can go on. Oh, that should be off as well. That should be off when the parking brake goes on. Oh, there's too many things to do as single pilot. And deboard, yes, please. Ground services. That's all coming on. Good. Right, that's 2,000 standby sets. Check the RSs. They are not drifted too much, that's fine. And block time is about 2 hours and 3 minutes. That's not too bad either. That's all good, that's good. Got external power, that can go on. Fuel pumps, they're off. I don't have a minute. No, it's about a minute. Sort it, that'll do. There we go, guys. That's Nice. Notice you start the electric pump even with both engines on. Is that standards electric pump? No, engine 2 is off. No, so when you do single engine, you turn engine 2 off, and then you turn the yellow electric pump on, because that's then just powering the yellow system. And the reason why we turn this on is because if engine 2's off, the engine-driven pump is no longer pressurising the yellow hydraulic system. So if that's off, the PTU automatically kicks on to then pressurise the yellow hydraulic system, which does your nozzle steering and your alternate brakes, and a few other little bits and pieces. But your nozzle steering, your alternate brakes is the main thing. And to prevent the PTU from overheating, because it's an expensive component and there's only one of them, so you don't want to wear it out that often. You turn the electric pump on, because that logic then overrides the PTU. So then the yellow hydraulic system is being pressurised by the yellow electric pump, which just saves the wear on the PTU. So yeah, you turn that on when you turn engine 2 off, and then when you park on stand, what you're supposed to do, I didn't do it, but you're supposed to put the parking brake on, then you're supposed to turn the yellow electric pump off, and then you can switch engine 1 off. I did it the other way around, but there's so many things to press, and usually this is the FOs doing this as well. So I put the parking brake on, sort of glance overhead as a sort of don't forget that, buddy, turn that off, and then they can go into the rest of their scans. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Nice. That was the Arnav approach. Again, it's pretty straightforward. The approach was a little bit messy. I think height-wise, I was okay pretty much on profile. Again, we sort of saw one white on the Pappies, which was as expected because they're calibrated for a slightly bigger aircraft. Touchdown was okay, maybe a little bit floaty. Yeah, vacated where we want to taxi, so that was it. So, there's Nice. Oh, Mrs. has come up with the dog. I think that's Q4 walkies. Oh, I said the word. Yeah. I said the W word, mate. Yeah. Oh, it's perfectly timed, wasn't it? Finishing at 4 o'clock local. So, there we go. There's Nice. That's me. I might come on tomorrow if I got a bit of time. I like the stands as well. They've got a parallax stands which you need to sort of, so that's really good. If you sort of move, you can see the bar. Yeah, I quite like that. So shame I didn't have one in the front of me. But yeah, that's Nice. Have a good day, guys. Have a good evening. I shall see you soon. Any problems, put a comment down if there's anything you don't understand, because I'm waffling on and talking bollocks, and just ask. And I will try to answer when I can, and hopefully see you guys later. Cheerio.